Are you wondering what your vagina actually looks like? Are you curious about the different parts of your vulva? And do you want to know if your vagina and vulva are normal? In this video, I'll be talking about the different parts of the vulva. I'll also be talking a little bit about the clitoris. I'll be talking about what you should see when you look at yourself down there, when you look at your own vulva, what the different parts are and what they do, and be talking about where the opening of the vagina actually is. So if you're excited to learn all of this, please hit the like button below and please subscribe if you're interested in videos on sex education and body positivity. Okay, so let's start off by taking a closer look at this. What you're looking at now is actually the vulva. So it's a model of the vulva. And the one I'm holding in my hand is a pink color, but actually vulvas and the labia, which we're going to talk about, can come in very many different colors actually. So sometimes it can be pinkish like this, sometimes it can be reddish or purplish or brownish, sometimes there are bits that are darker than other parts. All of that is completely normal. The best way to know what your vulva looks like or where your vagina actually is to look at yourself down there. That's the best way to know. One thing that this model is missing is it's missing hair. Now, all of us have pubic hair, right? So what you'll see is that at the top, this is known as the mons pubis, there is a lot of hair up here, and there is usually hair coming down the sides here, around the labia as well. So when you look at yourself down there, unless you shave or wax regularly, expect to see quite a lot of pubic hair. And what I recommend, the best way to know what your vulva and vagina look like are literally to get a mirror, to use a mirror, a handheld mirror if you can, and look at yourself down there. That's the best way to know what a vagina, meaning the opening of the vagina, looks like, and what a vulva more specifically looks like. Okay, so let's go through the different parts. At the top here, we've got the mons pubis. Below that, we've got the clitoral hood, and where you see this opening here, actually what's meant to go through there is your clitoris. And the reason I'm showing you the clitoris separately like this is because when I insert it here, what you're going to see is that the part that you can see there, that white bit there, is the clitoris, the kind of like bud of the clitoris that you can see externally, but the rest of the clitoris is behind, meaning it's internal in your body, that you can't actually see it. So I'm showing that to you because it's really important to know that the small bit that you see there underneath the clitoral hood is part of your clitoris, and the rest of it is internal in your body. So actually the clitoris is a fairly large organ, and that means if you stimulate parts of your labia, you will be stimulating the clitoris as well, because the rest of the clitoris is behind the labia. Okay, so now let's actually talk about the labia. So I've identified for you the mons pubis, and again, we know that there's typically going to be quite a lot of pubic hair here. We've got the clitoral hood, we've got the clitoris, and then on the outside, the outer lips are known as the labia majora, or the kind of major lips. Typically they may be larger, but not always. Sometimes the inner lips, which I'm going to get to now, the inner lips are known as the labia minora. Okay, so they are the lips on the inside, and sometimes they may be smaller, and sometimes they may protrude more outwardly, and sometimes the inner lips may be larger. The size of your labia can vary from woman to woman, and definitely does vary from woman to woman. So sometimes the labia majora are larger and sometimes the labia minora are larger. Usually they are not symmetrical, so one may protrude more outwardly than the other. And I'm actually going to show you some different vulvas in a moment of what you can expect when you look at yours down there. Yours may not look like this, okay? This is just a model. Yours may look very different to this in terms of color, in terms of whether it's symmetrical or not. So definitely don't feel like your vagina or your vulva is abnormal when you look at yourself down there. I'm going to show you some variances of different types of vulva. Okay, so let's continue. We've gone through mons pubis, the clitoral hood, the clitoris, and obviously the rest of the clitoris is behind. Then the small little hole that you see here that I've just covered with my finger, that is the urethral opening. That is the hole, the small hole there that I was covering. That is the hole or the opening that we pass urine from, okay? And actually the word opening is better, or the word entrance is better rather than hole. Okay, underneath that small opening, underneath the urethral opening, we then have our vagina, okay? So that's the one that I'm covering now with my finger. So there is our vagina. So do not confuse them. The one on the top is very, very small, so sometimes it's a bit hard to notice. And the one below it is your vagina. It's a bit more noticeable. You will need to use your fingers to spread apart the vaginal lips in order to see the opening of the vagina. And it may not look like the way that if you look at my one here, you may not be able to see inside it. It will look like an opening. It won't be kind of see-through in the middle like this one. It will look like more of an opening, and when you look through it, you will see flesh, obviously, because that is the opening of your vagina. So what I mean is, if I show you a different model, okay, just going to take the clitoris out just for a moment, just to show you here. You may have seen this in one of my previous videos. Up here is the clitoris, and obviously this is what it looks like internally in terms of the muscles. But if I were to cover it and line it up, that is kind of how it would look if you looked externally. And if you were to remove the external vulva, that is how it would look internally, with that being the opening of the vagina, the one on top of it being the urethra or urethral opening, and the one on top being your clitoris and clitoral hood. You can't actually see your vagina. What you actually see when you look down is you simply see the entrance of your vagina or the opening of your vagina. The rest of your vagina is internal, it's inside your body, so you can't actually see it. But what I'm going to show you is, if I show you with this model here and just remove this, if you were to take a cross section of your body, what you'd be able to see is that you would see that your vagina is like a kind of tunnel or canal. It looks very narrow on this because this is quite a small model, but your one is obviously a lot larger than this, and also your vagina has the capacity to expand. So I'm just going to show you. Here would be the entrance or the opening of the vagina, and then the rest of the vagina or the vaginal canal would be through and inside your body. So what would be great for you to do is to get a mirror and to look at yourself down there and go through the different parts of your own vulva. Remember, what you see down there is going to look different to this, but when you do go through, identify where your clitoral hood is. Identify where the kind of bud of the clitoris is here. Identify, if you can, the urethral opening, the small tiny opening. And then underneath that, identify the opening of the vagina. Identify your labia majora, labia minora. Make sure you pull them apart in order to pinpoint and identify the opening of the vagina. So I highly recommend getting a mirror and looking at yourself down there, whether you're married or not. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through some images to show you the different types of vulva, the different types of labia. And this is really important because I get messages from women saying, is my vagina normal? Are my labia normal? Why are my inner thighs really dark? On that note, it's very normal for your inner thighs to be dark or darker than the rest of your body. It's very normal for your vulva and your labia to be a different color to your body. It's very normal for these areas to be darker or different shades compared to the rest of your body. And this is really, really important. It's very normal for you to have pubic hair on this area. So expect that when you look at yourself. Don't expect it to look like what is reflected in the media or in movies or what you may see in porn. That's not going to be necessarily what your vulva and what your opening of your vagina look like. So I'm going to show you some screencasts now of some of my favorite Instagram accounts that have these images, and also a couple of websites that we're going to go through for you to have a look at what to expect when you look at yourself down there. Okay, so one of my favorite Instagram accounts is called Duvet Days, and they share really beautiful images of different parts of your anatomy. So you can see one here called Types of Hymen. You could have a look through that, but I just love how beautiful each of the images is. And the one that I want to show you, I've got it up on here, is of the vulva. So you can see that they've labeled here the glans clitoris, which is what I showed you, the kind of bud of the clitoris that I showed you earlier. You've got the urethral opening, you've got the labia majora and the labia minora over here, and you've got the vagina and the vaginal opening. So definitely check out Duvet Days on Instagram. I will try and leave a link to their page in the description box below. The next Instagram account that I really love is called the Vulva Gallery, and what I love is if you have a look through their images, you can see so many different types of vulva, so that when you look at yours, you feel a lot more normal. Like here, this is completely normal if you've got some of your lips protruding more outwardly than others. So please do have a look, and just normalizing pubic hair, because when we see vaginas and vulvas in media, or you know, in movies, or if you ever watch porn, usually they don't look like this. They look hairless and they look pinkish and, you know, perfect shades kind of thing, so-called perfect. And sometimes when you look at your own and you compare, you may feel that yours is not normal, but I'm here to tell you that yours is completely normal. So definitely check out the Vulva Gallery on Instagram. The next is a website that I'd love for you to check out, and this one is called the Great Wall of Vagina. So these are casts, 400 original casts from the Great Wall of Vagina. You can have a look through at these. So I really, really love this. Just gives a very realistic view of real life human vulvas, so that you can see that yours is definitely normal. Yours is going to look like one of these on here, or it may look slightly different, and that's still normal. So go and have a look through. Just bear in mind that obviously vulvas typically have hair on them, pubic hair, unless you kind of shave or remove your hair in that area. The next Instagram account that I want to point out is called, I think it's either Vielma or Vilma, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. And so Stephanie here creates models of the vulva and of the clitoris, and I really, really love this. And the one that I actually want to point out is this over here. This is a labeled diagram of the clitoral anatomy, so the anatomy of the clitoris. And why I love it so much is because typically when we're kind of taught about the clitoris, it's kind of seen as a very small bud at the kind of top of the vulva, when actually, as I showed you earlier in the video, actually that's just a small part of the clitoris. The rest of the clitoris protrudes inwardly inside your body that you can't see it. So you've got the kind of legs of the clitoris here, the crust of the clitoris, you've got the bulb of the clitoris. So I really, really like this you know, this image with the labeled anatomy of the clitoris to just show you how amazing the clitoris is. Okay, and the last website that I want to point to is called labialibrary.org.au, and part of the website is this on are my labia normal? If you're worried about labia size, you know, symmetry, it says here exact symmetry is rare in nature, which is so true. So don't expect your labia to look symmetrical. The color of your labia, I'm sure, are normal. It's not always necessarily going to be pink. It might be brown or reddish or purplish. And then there's some other information. There are other pieces of information on this website too, so definitely check it out. So that's it. I hope you found this video helpful. Please leave a comment below and let me know what you learned. Let me know if you're going to go and use a mirror and look at yourself down there, identify the different parts of your vulva, know where the opening of your vagina is, and know that your vagina, your vulva, your labia, the color, the symmetry, everything, you are normal, perfectly normal. And if you are unsure, please do go and get checked by a doctor or a gynecologist, but I am certain that what you are seeing is very much normal. You don't need to be worried about what it looks like. Your vulva, your vagina, your clitoris, all of it is normal and perfect. I really love the clitoris for many different reasons. Go and have a look at yourself down there. I am always in awe of this creation, the creation of the vulva, something that God has blessed you with. So go and enjoy it, go and look at it. Your vagina and your vulva are perfectly normal. There is nothing shameful or sinful or dirty about looking at yourself down there. You are looking at a part of creation, something that God created, just like God created our hands, and there's nothing wrong with looking at our hands. That's the same when you look at yourself down there and you look at your vulva. There is nothing wrong with looking at a part of your body. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't already, please do hit the like button below. Don't forget to subscribe. And I just wanted to let you know that I have a free online training available for you if you're interested. It's called Fearless Painless First Time Sex. The details and the link to register for this training are in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. Please do hit the like button below. Let me know if you benefited from this video. Leave a comment below. Hit subscribe if you're interested in the videos that I create. And really the take home message from this video is that you are normal, and go and look at yourself down there. And I would love it if you could watch this video next. This video is all about first time sex. So it's wedding night preparation. You know, if you're about to be a new bride, or if you're a bit hesitant about having sex for the first time when you get married, check out this video here. Thanks so much. Take care.